Okay. So now we're going to try to do this. We're only allowed 8 champions. But this is the Drizzt unlock. I'm not gonna load the formation because it's not even the same as it would have been. I gotta move this over here. So this is going to be a slightly altered formation. And we'll have to see. But we do that. We got to get to 175. This is going to be an Ashara DPS formation. It has to be. Because we're going to get to a level where our progress isn't gated by killing things. It's gated like enemies. It's gated by killing, like clearing out sarcophagi, which are these little hit-based items on the screen, and you have to walk the champions forward to get to them, which means we have to be able to clear waves that are built up on our champions quickly. We can't do that with Jarlaxle. So he's only attacking the things from the back. So this needs a different setup than maybe what we've been doing before. I don't know, Aggie Jess. I don't know. Again, speculating on what they're going to do with Time Gate, with a Time Gate rework is a whole other situation. But I do feel like if during an event you're getting limited access to older champions, but with much more stuff to complete for them, that for 6 Time Gate pieces, so for double the cost, we should be getting access to that same stuff, but for any champion. So it does feel weird. It feels like they're kind of setting themselves up, and yeah, I don't know. Found it blog 943, September 23rd, 2019, complete with apology announcement of giving out some Time Gate pieces. Yes, because you used to have to pay. Like they made a change, and you were going to have to pay Time Gate pieces to unlock stuff, and then they were like, "Sorry, folks, this didn't work," and then they removed it. And guess what? They're bringing back. Okay, I want to read the Dark Urge. All right. DPS champion, seed 11. Dragonborn male, age unknown. So we need to figure out. We're gonna need to, know what that means behind the scenes. So there's a Dev Insights question. Chaotic Evil, yeah. He, him, Absolute Adversary, Sorcerer, sure. Stat, eligible for everything, right out of the gate. 2 different normal attacks. A melee attack in his regular form and a melee attack in his ultimate Slayer form. So Murderous Slash, the Dark Urge moves up to the closest enemy and attacks all nearby enemies with the slash of the dagger. So AoE. Otherwise, wow. In the ultimate form, it does ultimate damage. AoE. Sure, that makes sense. Passive abilities, Dark Inheritance. The Dark Urge is eligible to start in all adventures, even if the patron variant or other restrictions say otherwise. He also does not interact with any champion abilities or variant effects that are based on age. Oh, there you go. Never mind. Answered the question that I would have asked on Dev Insights. He just doesn't qualify. He just doesn't qualify. That's interesting. I mean, you can't really sit this out. I mean, the champion's going to be in the game, so unless you... Can I show the blog? I want to show the game. You can read along on the blog. Right over here. Formation abilities. So, but that's wild. All adventures. So he's like a dungeon master. He can go everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. So we now have 2 champions that can go everywhere. Formation abilities: the Urge. Each time the Dark Urge defeats an enemy, he gains a murder stack. The Dark Urge increases damage by 0.1% for each murder stack he has. Stacks persist between the adventures. Stacking and so he's the murder. He's Zorbu. He's Murder Inc. Zorbu and the Dark Urge, friends for life. They both love to just kill things. Yeah. Ceramorphosis. Dark Engine increases his damage by 100% for each stacking multiplicatively. Just a straight up damage boost. All right. Living on the edge, you can't help yourself but fall. Dark Urge has 6 outcast stacks. Now I want to sing a different song. -1 stack for each adjacent champion that does not have the DPS role. Okay. Dark Urge increases damage by 100% for each outcast stack, stacking multiplicatively. So you want him like either surrounded by DPS/supports or like on the edge of the tiniest place on a formation with a DPS support next to him. You only want DPS supports next to him if you can. If you can. So, you know, probably going to be used with some champions that Artemis likes, right? Artemis likes. First song Gar sang that. You don't know Living on the Edge by Aerosmith? Aw. See, Outcast, I would have just, if I read the Outcast, if they just called this Outcast, I would have started singing like Hey Ya or Roses. And sure, I would understand maybe not knowing that one. Oh, you didn't catch it from how I sang it. That's fair, because I suck. Specializations, 2 different sets. What do we got? First set. Storm Sorcery. Murder Slash is empowered by lightning. Increases the range? What? Why does... Oh, the range of the AoE. Okay. And deals up to 800% more damage to enemies based on how close they are to him. Okay. Draconic Bloodline. Dark Urge's damage is increased by 200% for each Dragonborn in the champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. That's an interesting choice. Divine Soul. The Dark Urge increases the number of the Urge's murder stacks he gains each time he defeats an enemy by 200%. So that's his stacking spec. So Divine Soul to build up permanent stacks. To build up permanent stacks. Alright. I'm liking everything here so far. Second spec. Either embrace the urge or resist it. We embraced it when we played through. Unlocks the Form of the Slayer. Ultimate deals 100% more damage for each evil champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. Or their alignment changes. Resist the urge. Their alignment changes to lawful good. He unlocks Wither's Resurrection ultimate and deals 100% more damage for each good champion in the formation. A lot happens with that one, huh? An alignment change. Okay. Ultimates. 2 ultimate attacks depending on whether you embrace or resist the urge. Form of the Slayer. The Dark Urge moves to the enemy's side of the screen and transforms into the Form of the Slayer for 15 seconds. While in this form, Scleritus Fell joins the formation in the Dark Urge's spot. Yes! I needed his butler to show up, and he does. While the Dark Urge is in the ultimate form and is immune to damage, so Scleritus Fell doesn't take damage. Dark Urge gains a new melee attack that deals ultimate damage. Interesting. And I guess just attacks everything around him? On the other side of the screen? Okay. For 15 seconds, sure. Wither's resurrection. So if you resist the urge, Withers appears in the back of the formation and raises his right hand. Hey, everybody. Either he does this or he does this. We don't know. All enemies take one ultimate hit and are pushed back to their side of the board with a shockwave. All knocked out heroes, so like anyone who had died, briefly glow white and are resurrected to full health. Wow. All heroes are immune to damage for 15 seconds. This ultimate automatically triggers if the Dark Urge is knocked out. After the duration ends, Withers disappears. Wow. AoE Revive. AoE Revive. I'm sorry, Miss Jamson. I am for real. Oh no. Itemization, self-damage, the urge, Ceramorphosis. So, if that's pre-stack, once again, he could mop. Living on the edge, embrace or resist the urge. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for pre-stack here. And then ultimate cooldown. Adventure variants. Oh, they give us all the adventure variant information in this. Okay. First one is fine. Second one's fine. Well, the third one might be interesting. Yeah, alright. Yeah, they're definitely going to be, if you're going to do absolute adversaries, they're now your DPS. Everybody else would need to get built into a support functionality. Like Karlach would have to be tanking or support. But yeah. 99.9% of the time I catch the tune you're singing. You're good. I don't know about that. Clearly, if I do Living on the Edge, and this one doesn't get it, I don't know, not that good. Wonder if said perm stacking will work in background parties. I mean, it'll work like it's always worked in background parties. Sometimes. I mean, probably, right? Yeah, you just have to test it. How big can my permanent stacks get? Forever. There's some diminishing returns, right? Like with Zorbu, usually you get to around EO5, and that's good enough, and you'll eventually get to EO6, which is a bit wild, but, you don't necessarily have to take it beyond that, right? Is Butler narrates item descriptions? I didn't even know. Hold on, let me check. That's perfect. Because he always shows up and talks about it. Yeah, these really hold on to the blood, my lord. Nice. This belongs in your sanguine hands. This is perfect, yes. What do you have planned for this, my demiurge? A gift for murderous escapades. 1 down, master. 2 to go. Yes. Very wise, my lord. Now you can heal them and hurt them again. That's fantastic. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I was really looking forward to... I was really hoping. I was like, when we first talked about... when I talked with Pete about, all the absolute adversaries, when we got to the Dark Urge in my playthrough, I was like, the Butler's got to be in the game somehow. Somehow. The Butler's got to be referenced. Somehow. There's also another thing that I said had to happen. There's nothing about it here. There's another thing I said really, really need to happen. We'll find out tomorrow. We'll see if it makes me happy. It could make me very happy. We'll see. Strictly speaking, the Dark Urge Butler should actually be called their valet. That's fine. I don't understand servants. I grew up poor. I don't understand servants and their naming, and their nomenclature. Why would I? Why would I? I know this may be the wrong stream to say this, but the Urge could be really interesting in an Artemis formation. How? They don't How? I mean, if you take Artemis out, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you take Artemis out of an Artemis formation, the Dark Urge might, that some of those champions may work well with the Dark Urge. Not the positional formation ability part, but the DPS / support champions may work very well with Dark Urge. Why are some of the Time Gate champions half price? I don't know. I mean, I know why they were. They were half price because of seasons. They were the featured champions in the last season. But when the season ended, it was supposed to stop, and it didn't, and that's a problem. Do they cycle at some point? No, not anymore. It used to be a new set every season. But seasons are seasons change. Seasons are gone. Seasons went. Mom and Dad took seasons to live on a farm upstate in the country where seasons could run and frolic and play because our yard just isn't big enough for them anymore. No, we can't go visit seasons on the weekends. Oh my god, my dog did that when I was a kid. I'm so sorry. No. How cool would it be if we got Gale and if he would consume temporary to save one or more items from the rest of the party for self DPS pop? Nah, not very cool at all. But we had a big joking stream one day where I was like, "What are the I was challenging everybody to come up with the worst possible ways you could introduce Gale and to be true to their Baldur's Gate 3 action, and one was yes, permanent consumption of items, and you just had to re-loot them like thing, right? I was like, that's the worst possible thing you can happen. Yeah, no, it would be bad. It would be hilarious from one sense, but from a game sense, it would be horrible. It would be horrible. Butler is the most senior of a household servants. A valet is a personal servant assistant. Oh. Well, then... I mean, then the Scalerdus might be still a butler, but I don't know what he's officially referred to. He could be either one, I feel like. It feels like he's in charge of the Dark Urge's household. Feels that way. But I could... again, I don't know. I don't know. I have no familiarity with that stuff, so... Why did seasons end? Because they didn't. CNE's statement was they didn't feel that seasons were delivering the experience they had wanted for everybody, and Events 2.0 should deliver part of that in a better way. And the last couple of seasons really just kind of fell flat. Like they weren't what we were kind of hoping for in the way they were working, and there could have been a lot of reasons for that, but they just decided that for now they're going on pause is what they've said, but that pause is sounding indefinite, which means they're just going away. So it's you may as well just think of them as not coming back unless they do. This is the level that we're going to have a problem on later. A level like this, see where we have to clear torches. Lae'zel is fantastic for this. Unfortunately, we don't have Lae'zel, but we're going to have to do this with sarcophagi and these torches, and so you have to move forward. It's easy right now, but once we're up at like 139 into stuff there's like 173. It's on like 173. That's going to be rough because we're going to be at the end of our journey. End of a kind of a top end of our damage curve, and if we can't kill things, we're going to have a difficult problem passing it. I'll hydrate. You might as well just assume seasons aren't coming back. Unless they forgot to tell us. Oh, wait. Too soon? Oh. Seasons will be available, but you have to open them with time gate piece. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know. Man, what a whirlwind of emotions. I just wanted to read about the Dark Urge today and unlock Drizzt. And I didn't need the rest of this. I mean, Niscus, it could have been worse. They could have said we're changing the price of turkey because maybe Twitch owns all of the turkey farms in the world. I don't know. Could have been worse. We forgot Events 2.0 doesn't start tomorrow. Season 8 starts tomorrow. Our bad. Yeah. There's a lot of ways this could be worse, but that doesn't mean we want to talk about it. What are you up to? I'm up to 36,000 corrupted gems on this account, which still feels like it's going to be... I probably could have put that... I guess I could have put support pigments on these epics and gotten a little more favor. I would have been able to use 4. So that would have been, let's see, 3, 9, 27, 81. I would have had 81 times damage. Might have. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Come over here. Click, click, click. Okay. Click, click, click. Nope. Okay, what's Ashara's speed? She's got a slow attack, right? Yes, good. Well, yeah, we needed 5 EO9. Didn't get there. Okay, so we got a little extra from that push, but not much. I still don't really care about reducing attack speed or ultimate cooldowns at the moment. I'd rather have the gold find, but we'll get there. We'll get to the point where I care about that. How is the Reddit handling things? Not a lot of response yet. Game Plus is live. Good luck, Sean. Good luck, Sean. Do you have any advice for this new currency, the crystals? You mean the corrupted gems? It's not a new currency, but my advice is the biggest bang for your buck is support pigments long term. If you have some of these champions, these 3 golden epics, are solid. This one, especially as a speed champion, helps you have to invest less into Virgil to get him capped. Whereas these two will just want continual investments. Feats you should just consider a preview, unless it's just something you absolutely positively can't live without. Same with skins. These will end up being for cash, so if you like the skin, you can buy it with gems, or otherwise they go to the wild offer pool. These will all go to the wild offer pool. And then chests, generally, for a very, very long time, they won't really be worth anything. Oh, I got a blue, but it's from Minsk. What a disappointment. So yeah, I mean, like on my new player account, I can't really do anything with corrupted gems because there isn't anything for new players in the corrupted gem system that's worthwhile. Like even if you were to save 2,500 up and buy a chest, like what you're getting out of the chest is garbage compared to like the support pigment. But if you're like me, you can't even really put support pigments on. I mean, I can put a couple out. But like, how long am I going to be using these core champions? Like, hopefully not long. I don't know, who I'm going to replace them with, and it'd be better on replacements most likely in the future. So I'm just banking them pretty much. What this upgrade? More gold, please. More gold, please. Happens when you buy a wild offer for gold and you already have? You can't. It shouldn't come up. I've heard rumors that occasionally it does. In which case they're just going to have to refund you because you're not supposed to get a golden epic twice. Why not just get the pigments and save them? Why? Is the alternate to that. There will always be pigments available, so I don't need to buy them right now. And who knows, maybe at some point, the rotation that'll come through will actually be golden epics I want, that it makes sense for my account. And I might have spent all my tokens on support pigments that, so it's up to you. Ultimately, it's up to you. If you want to do that, you can. I'm not going to. They're limited. They're limited to 10 every time it opens. But you can't earn more corrupted gems in an event to buy all that. So, doesn't matter. And sure, I know there's some corrupted gems you can earn now from quests, but there's not that many. There's an event's worth of corrupted gems. On my main account, I completed all the things at once, almost. I mean, a lot of stuff. I'm at very high end. I still only earned just a little over 60,000 corrupted gems for all of that time. You earn that much in an event, in an emergence event. So there's no real reason to save them up. Or not to save them up. There's no real reason to spend them in advance because those are limited. They're just, you get 10. They refill the shop with 10. It says remaining stock 19 because I bought one. 9 of this stock will go away in 3 days, but that 10 remains, right? You're always buying from the oldest stock. They front the stock, so you're buying the oldest things. Yeah. Only people that are buying corrupted gems with cash would run out. The feats are limited. Well, the feats are always going to show up. They're going to eventually just go into the game as gems for you. There's an exclusivity period, so like the feats that are that have a timer, when this timer runs out, they'll be gone from this shop. But then like 3 months later, they'll show up as available for gems, and the green gems in the game. So I just use this as a preview of what's coming in the future, unless it's something that just absolutely necessary to have right away, which has only happened like once for me. Yeah, first in, first out. Yeah. But when if a timer, like the timer on the support pigments, if you didn't buy the ones that are available, they go away. But there's still the 10 that came in fresh that are still sitting there until the next one, and then they give you 10 more. Yeah, Lurking Rider, except, we don't have seasons anymore, so now support pigments are that's the only way you can get them, so. No, I'm not getting the GE for nerds. What if they change it to, okay, I'm going to stop right there because it doesn't matter. Like, what if they change it in the future? Then they change it in the future. I'm making my decisions based off the way the system works right now. That's all I can do. I am someone who lives with anxiety. I understand all of the, believe me, I live my life full of, but what if, what if, what if, what if? It goes off in my head all day long. But with a video game, I can look at it and go, well, what if? Doesn't matter. Again, what if? Doesn't matter. They've already made these clear statements. Golden epics and skins go to wild offers. Feats, gems in the gem shop. They've already made these clear statements. There are no feats in existence in this game that are cash only forever. That's not a thing that happens in this game. At some point, all feats become available for green gems. That's just that's the way the feat system currently works. If some point in the future they change that, okay, but I'm not making my current decisions based off a what if scenario for the future. I'm making my current decisions based on the way the game works right now. Yeah. And this game can never be pay to win because it's not a competitive game. What it is pay to progress faster if you want. But everything, every power, everything you can get in this game, in terms of pushing power, you can do with green. You can do with gems. You can do with in-game currency. It just might take a little longer. That's the way this game has always been. The only thing you can't get are like cosmetics and familiars. But so there are some, like, there's pay to look better and there's pay for automation, but there's no winning because there's no competition. I am a stickler for that term being used correctly because people apply it to things that it does not apply to. Pay to win is competitive game term. When you're in a PvE game, it's just pay to progress faster. What if they would return Narak back to the way he was? I mean, look, I can... It just doesn't. It doesn't matter. I live in a world where Narak has been butchered, and that's the way it is. Live in the now, Qui-Guardian. Oh no. They're changing it in Events 2.0. They just forgot to tell us. Yeah. But oh no. Oh no. Yeah, just use gem for cosmetics. Exactly. Exactly. We'll just change your outfit regular anyway. But yeah, it's, I don't like making decisions about a future about a future that isn't coming as far as I know. But when they announce things, here's the big problem with the failure to include that time gate piece cost in the Events 2.0 block. They did give us a heads up on something that was coming in the future, and they left information out, and it was key information, and that's going to create a problem. It's going to be unfortunate for people. And it's a small, I'll be honest, it's a small number of people it's going to be unfortunate about. for two reasons. One, it's only people who don't have 2 or more patrons unlocked that really feel the brunt of this. And also only people who actually read the blog or read about the changes, which is also a small number of people. So they'll get through this probably just fine, simply because only a small number of people read up on changes that are coming to the game, and then only a small number of those people are going to be directly affected by it. Doesn't mean it isn't a big problem. It's indicative of a big problem that has happened a lot over the last 6.5 years. So, yeah. Might been. It's a lot of work to unlocking gear. 3 champions as a starting player. Not saying it's a problem, and communication's hard. So here's so in the past, with the old version of the event system, because of the way that everything was token limited, it was problematic to open up, to have more than 3 champions available. They would have had to have increased the rate of token drops, and in fact they did. Originally it was when they went to 3 champions every event, from 1 and 2 respectively, in years 1 and 2, they sped up the drop rate. Originally it was 1 every 30 seconds, and then it sped up to 1 every 25 seconds. And they put in the discounts for older champions, and they started for their stuff, and then the free play started at 500 instead of 2,500. Right? They made accommodations for the costs due to numbers of champions. The Events 2.0 removes all those costs, and you can just do stuff. So then it's just, even if all you did is initially what they presented was 5 champions over 3 weeks at no cost to you, with that 6th champion being a supporter slot. Well, that's fine, because even if all that a new player does is unlock the champion, that's a distinct advantage over anyone that doesn't, because they can get gear for those champions from Electrums, from all the Electrums that they get every week. And they can get them to blues off of that, and blue is functional. And then, beyond that, time gates and patron chests, just like everything else. So taking out that token requirement freed you up a lot, I feel like. So not as bad to be unlocking, or to try to be unlocking lots of champions. Also, it's 3 weeks instead of 12 days. It's 21 days instead of 12 days. Not quite double, but 75% longer amount of time. And 66% more champions available. Time works out just fine, right? So yeah, I don't think in this iteration, I don't think that the amount of work would be a problem. This is the level 73. When we get to 173, we got to push like this and clear out these sarcophagi, or whatever. We need an enemy that's a walking sarcophagus, and they just call him sarcophagi. That'd be great. That'd be great. So no, I don't think it's going to be a problem to unlock all the champions. How far you push in terms of the tiers, you're going to have to pick and choose, I guess. Who knows? Newer players, tier 1 is your goal. Beyond that, what would the solution to said problem be? Settings 2 are more open. Oh, well, there's something missing in this process. They left off a key piece of information, so there was something missing in the process of getting all of the changes that are coming in Events 2.0 into a blog that was written and then went through an approvals process. Everyone missed it. Everyone missed it. How do you miss something like that? You don't have a proper list of changes. I would assume there just wasn't a proper, complete list of changes that was clear and easy to understand, delivered to the people that were writing the blogs or the people that were reviewing it. Even they missed it. I mean, that's, to me, that goes back to proper list of changes. And then you go from there. Was there a proper list? If there was, then every other person in that line then just failed to... You need a different reviewer, I guess? Like somebody that's editing, like reading through that and approving the I don't know. I don't know where the failure in that system was, but figure it out and fix it. Because yeah. Figure it out and fix it. Yeah, needing the time gate pieces isn't the problem. It's not. I don't think I don't think that's a problematic system. Again, this was something that they were going to do a long time ago and then walked back, and it's the not communicate. It's the combination of not communicating it, compiled with the fact that these champions are still discounted for some unknown reason that would encourage people like newer players who still don't have 2 patrons left, still don't have 2 patrons unlocked, to come over here and spend their tokens on these champions, and thus burn all their tokens that they needed. Yeah, but it's a communication issue ultimately. But it's like, it feels like they go from issue to issue, and these are stacking up, and like, because one doesn't resolve, then another one hits harder than it should, and then so on and so forth. Yeah, I remember when I was one of my interviews for, who was it for? It was for Dawngate, working a community in Dawngate. I talked about like this idea that I have about like the way I kind of look at communities and developer interactions with the player base, and it's like a karma system. Like I was equating it like karma. Like, as developers, when you first start out, you've earned a certain amount of karma by the things you've communicated about your game, and then the game launches, and then how it delivers on that consumes that karma, right? Like if it doesn't deliver, you get, you're subtracting karma. If you over deliver, you're gaining karma, and then as you go on, every interaction you have with the community either gains you or loses karma, and you should be doing everything possible to either gain karma or not lose karma in all of your interactions, right? So talk about your wins, like celebrate your wins as a game studio, which means anytime you do something that's good, that the community has wanted for a long time, celebrate it publicly, talk about it, recognize, hey, the community wanted this, we did it, we delivered for you. Gain karma, plus karma, ding, right? Every time a bug triggers in your game, a patch goes out bad, you make a communications mistake, you're losing karma, right? It's just getting taken away. The more positive karma you have, the more easy it is for a community to kind of soak up mistakes. Because mistakes are always going to happen. You just have to understand you are never going to be perfect. You're just never going to be perfect. So you have to get your wins when you can, right? Take them where you can get them. And you do that with and you can build karma just with clear and transparent communication. You can build it with celebrating your wins. You can build it with having, making changes based off public feedback, right? And then the more you do that, instead of like ignoring your communities like some games do, right? Whatever you can do, you always have to be banking karma, because when you run out, if you start running into a deficit, even the smallest problem is going to land with a huge explosion, right? It is going to be the thing. It's going to be, those are the straws that break the camel's back, right? For members of your community. And different members of the community, you can't judge this, but different members of the community, you can never judge exactly how much karma you have floating around. But you're going to have different amounts for different people. And when you reach, there's always going to be a point of no return with someone. And if you ever get to that point, that person leaves your game at a minimum. Like, best case scenario, the person leaves your game. Worst case scenario, they stick around and become a toxic member of the community. So keeping this in mind is how you keep your community healthy and prevent against the normal everyday stress, the negatives that are going to happen in any kind of video game. Because there's always going to be things that are there'll be even things outside of your control that detract from your game, right? Like Codename Entertainment is intrinsically linked to it's because it's a Dungeons and Dragons themed game. Anything that happens with Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast trickles down to them. So you have to keep building good relationships with your community. Or if you're constantly on the back foot, then you are constantly in the danger zone. And if you don't fix that, long term, real bad. So, like, part of your job in community management is, I saw a comment here, is to be the firefighter when something catches fire, because something will always catch fire. That's just normal, right? But the most important part of kind of being a community manager is being the fire marshal and having a fire code set up in your studio to prevent fires from catching in the first place, right? You got to work with your team to only you can prevent forest fire. You got to be Smokey the Bear. Only you can prevent forest fires internally. Or just go with a fire theme. Because, yeah, that's part of your job, is to be able to look at things that are coming and go, oh, that's going to cause a fire in the community. And rate. Is it going to be just as small? Is it going to be, I don't know. I let the match burn down too much, and then I dropped it, and then it burned a part of the carpet. Or is it going to be the house is burning down, and we need to do something about it, right? Like, you've just got to be able to tell them in advance, right? So I don't know. This has been a constant problem for them for years, and it just always seems to hit it the worst possible time. Like, right when they're about to celebrate a win, something slips through the cracks and takes it away from them. It feels like it's all the time. It's frustrating. As somebody who has experience in community management, it's just frustrating. Because I don't know. Like, is there someone being Smokey the Bear internally, but nobody's listening to Smokey the Bear? Or is no one being Smokey the Bear? I don't know. I don't work there. Oh, that's not great. I want to. Well, it's not even a proofreader in the sense that they need somebody to make sure there's no typos. Although lately, that's been a problem in game. Lately, there's been grammar and typing errors in stuff that makes it into the game. Those are little pokes in the karma system, right? The longer, and one of those things, the longer a bug gets left in the game, the longer things don't get addressed, the more they are a constant drain on the karma system for everyone that runs into it. May not seem like it, but it's like having a cavity in your tooth and just ignoring it. The longer you ignore it, the worse it is for your overall health. It's just you get used to the pain and you don't notice it anymore. But if you were to get everything fixed, you would feel so much better, and that's another way to think about it. Right? Yeah. Yeah, and I mean the collection system dropping right before this and kind of missing the mark. I mean, yay, it's finally in, but then it feels like an under-delivered. And then Events 2.0, bad communication, kind of an important thing that they forgot. I mean, if you were going to forget anything, forget that there's a support slot that you can unlock for cash. Forget that part. And add that later. That's an add. That's something that you forgot that is an additive to something, whereas this is a subtraction, right? Yeah, Strider. Yeah. We know what the support pack looks like. Well, we don't know what like event DLC means or whatever, which is what they were referring. You have to buy specific DLC. I don't know what that means. Let's see, visual additives. Wrong kind of additive. Does this account have the patrons unlocked to pull it off? Oh, yeah, I've got none. That's right. But because of some glitch when this account got reset, I started the game with 6 time gate pieces. So I'll be fine. But anybody who has 2 or fewer, anybody who doesn't have 2 patrons unlocked, or lots of, a new player that doesn't have 2 patrons unlocked that was at, less than 3, maybe less than 3 time gate pieces, is going to be in trouble. Why are we having a problem? Oh, I know why we're having a problem here. Because we're at 96 click damage and 95, so we need to kill by. We need to build our formation power now. All right. So we're going Potpourri this time. This is an Ashara DPS, so we're going to go Potpourri. I'm actually going to need... I'm going to want to... can we? I don't think I can get 4. I don't think I can match 4 of her bonds without having to bring Archon in, which is not an idea. But it's something to keep in mind that maybe we could. If we end up not having the damage here, getting her to 4 effectively double dips her power from the bond as a DPS. So we leveled up Jarlaxle first just to try to max out his gold find. And now, we're gonna get him to his gold find, his Master of Piracy here in a bit, and then I'll only really upgrade him if we're getting gold find. If I have enough to get him to another gold find boost, because he's only here now to produce gold. He's here to produce gold. That's it. Cryptic nature of the blog posts have always been an issue. I don't know what that means. I have issues with how they use with how they do. I have a lot of issues with their communications because of my experience. It's never been what I would want it to be, but they're fine with it. Uh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say there. They have a marketing focused community management style, and that's not the world that I usually exist in. I've always, either been with when I have worked for studios, it's they have their own marketing people that handle that stuff, and community just handles community. Um, but it's Codename Entertainment. They put their community team under their as part of their marketing team, which has always felt weird because that's like putting your art team under your programming team. Like, those are two different disciplines. Those are two entirely different disciplines that deserve their own space. And focus. But yeah, they have marketing and community, but it's all under. It's all under. It's kind of all answers to marketing. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody answers to Dylan on that side of things. They have just a different way of approaching it, and that grates on me because it's like, why would you do that? Studios with less people working on this better communicate. Well, I mean, it just depends. Again, it has to do with their focus. It has to do with their personal to focus on how they like to communicate. I mean, the thing that Codename Entertainment does well is their streaming, right? They've always had the one thing I always loved was the OG Idle Champions dev stream. Once a week, they sat down and had a 2-hour stream with their community answering questions. That's fantastic. It is. As long as the person answering the questions has information that they can provide, and that's only gotten better now with Dev Insights, where you get an hour with people who can actually say yes and no to things and move stuff on with more power than other people, right? Their Reddit Q&A used to be better than it is. I feel like it kind of went through a period where, because they had just had all their Q&As on the same day, it was just problematic. But it is available all the time, so that's better than a lot of communities. It's just there's a lot of other things that they're missing. Like, I mean, like, I got bullied out of the official Discord on 2 separate occasions in the past, which is why I just don't go in there anymore. That's a problem with their community management. And I mean, I don't know what it's like now, because I just don't want to go anywhere near it anymore. I still see that some of that happens on the subreddit, although I did see a couple of those posts removed. Most of the time I probably just don't even see it, because I've just blocked people because I'm tired of C&E not dealing with it, so I just block people. So there's issues. There's issues with their overall community management. Some of their communication is nice. The rest of it, lacking. Always has been. I mean, it was a fight for years just to get change logs to actually show information. And while there's still sometimes there's stuff that doesn't show up in it, at least something shows up fairly regularly, which wasn't always a thing, folks. We went literally years without getting reliable change logs. So now, they miss something every now and then. Like, I know, well, it used to be worse. We just didn't have them at all. But that's still not a good feeling, right? Ticket support has always been amazing. Yeah, when you report a bug through the ticket system, but that's not communication. That's not community management. That's support. I want to be clear. These are all different things. So, ticket-based support has always been great. Always. I mean, back in the day, it used to be David a lot of the times. Before they hired Sean, it was like David a lot. It might have been Peter on occasion, but I remember getting responses from David. Um, so that's been good. But yeah, but it's the community management side. Their marketing is usually, I mean, their marketing is all about, their streams are marketing. Their the champions being the event champions being streamer based, content creator champions. That's marketing. Um, and the promotions that they do through different platforms, if the platforms allow them, that's all marketing, right? So those are all their marketing stuff, and that seems to work well for what they're doing. As is, like, even their charity stuff, if you want to think of it, is also marketing, because those charity organizations then promote, hey, this is going on in this game, and the money goes to us. That's also marketing. The cynical view of it, but it's exactly what it is. I should say it's a realistic view of it. But at least, for people that are already playing the game, that's why I'm already playing the game. So of course I pick up the charity stuff, because the money then goes to charity. But yeah. But community management is its own set of things. So you're going to have, it has to do with things like blog posts and change logs. That's part of change logs, or actually should go through community managers. Because the community management is supposed to be the translation step from dev speak to player speak. It's supposed to go through a translator. And that translator is your community manager. And it should clarify things, and like, a lot of times we read stuff in a changelog and we're like, that's great, but I don't even know what that means or what that affects. And a community manager should post that, and then in a way that people understand what this improvement is, right? That's never happened. And if you don't want to put all of that in here, put a link to a blog, and then do a blog post, do a patch notes blog post every time you do a change log, right? Yeah, there's a lot of things that don't happen because that's just not how they do things at CNE. They're very marketing focused, and they're not really community management focused. Has been my take on the mistakes that they're making. It could be that people are pushing for that kind of stuff, and then somebody in management is saying no. But again, that means management is not focused on that. Ultimately, it comes down to management, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to management. I haven't put it on the Discord too. There's some toxic people in there. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's always been my experience. That's why I stopped going there. Ludieth, yeah. Yes. It's not great. 3 is, it feels like the magic number. It really just needs to be, I mean, the people that are really harmed by it are people who have fewer than 2 patrons unlocked. Or just don't have any patrons unlocked. But like, you could have 1 patron and the blessing and the tier 5 blessing, and you'd be fine. So anybody who isn't generating 3 time gate pieces a week is kind of harmed by this lapse, this omission. But it just feels weird that this is a very important thing, and it just didn't even make it to the blog post. I don't understand how that mistake happens. It's not a small thing. It was not a small thing to leave out, and I don't understand how it went through all of the approval processes and got left out. They don't have promo codes only for Steam or Epic. They have promotional giveaways for Steam or Epic. That's a marketing tool. It's a marketing tool used to bring in new players. It just so happens it also rewards current players on those systems, as it should. That's the good way. Another business industry example is when you see like a cell phone company advertising, hey, you get these new deals, but it's only for new contracts. That's the bad way, right? CNE is doing it for anyone on that platform gets it. That's the good way. But they are dealing with a platform and doing a giveaway on a platform. Not all platforms, hashtag not all platforms, want giveaways or even will allow them. This is why you don't see giveaways on a lot of platforms. But they are marketing tools specifically to bring in new players. When it happens on Steam, we can visually see the spike. You can go to those external websites that track daily usage data and see that they are bringing that giveaway brings in a lot of new players. And you can, presume that when they do these on Epic, that you get a similar spike, right? So that's part of their marketing plan. Platforms don't allow you to, they want exclusivity. Platforms want you just on their platform and nowhere else. So they don't want you sharing that giveaway with other platforms. Yeah. So that is less something that CNE gets any say on. But CNE gives us 30 plus Electrum codes on a weekly basis. Among other things, they give out a lot of stuff, but that's for current players. The promotional things are to bring in new players, and if you're on that system, on that platform, you get the benefit of it. This is why they will never do a giveaway on their own client, because it's not bringing in new players. Because the idea is to bring in new players that are in that ecosystem somewhere. But on their client, everybody is playing Idle Champions. Right? If you want giveaways, you shouldn't be playing on the CNE client. You need to play on... Honestly, you need to be playing on an Epic. The Epic, and I feel like if we were to look at the numbers, Epic would give away more. Epic is just more open to doing things like that than Steam is. But Steam has been okay. But, but PlayStation and Xbox... mobile devices, they don't like that stuff at all. Yeah, you can see the viewer counts on streams go up by 4 times or more sometimes. Yeah, and sometimes it sticks around and it doesn't fall off, but sometimes it falls off, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on kind of the state of the game and the state of the community. Nothing drives people away from a video game community like the toxic people in that video game community. So, even if your game is in a somewhat good state, you could lose people just because there's people out there whining and talking trash and treating people poorly. But, Twitch, people that show up to Twitch streams, the Twitch chat tends to be positive. The way they push to Discord, though, I'm like, okay. But, that's their choice. But I was helping CNE by using their client. I mean, that's what you would think, right? Because then all purchases are just going straight to them. And in that sense you are. You're just not going to get any of the stuff that being on one of those other clients gets, right? You're helping them, but you're not helping yourself. You got to find a way to do both, right? Got to find a way to do both. Yeah, they want to push to so generally overall you want to encourage people to interact with your community. because especially in Idle Champions, you know, it's pretty straight. There's a pretty straight correlation with the more people interact with the community, the more likely they are to stick around and keep playing the game and enjoy it, and ultimately spend money on it. Like, there's just a strong correlation there. But when you have a strong correlation like that, you need to have a strong focus on making sure your community is as positive as possible. And I feel like they're going, but our community is great. Look at these other communities. They're horrible. Look at ours. It's great. And I'm not saying they're not better than most communities, because yeah, but that's part of that is a function of being a PvE game. There's less toxicity in PvE communities, but you still have to address and be ready to handle promptly the problems in your community. And that is not, as someone who's been harassed out of the Discord multiple times and continues to face harassment when I'm about things, it's like, you know, just about speaking my mind. They're not, you know, they don't handle it well. If they had to handle a community, if they had to come in and make decisions about handling a community for a PvP game that was like, you know, 10 times the size of Idle Champions, I do not have faith in that system. I have lived that job, and it takes a lot more than what CNE offers. Who has more universal use between Shandy, Dynahair, and Virgil? Shandy. Well, oh, you mean for harder... Oh, for deep pushing. Those are all speed champions, so I'm just thinking speed. I don't know. I mean, there's going to be a lot of dependent there on gear and item levels and what the rest of your formation is. Dynahair has the potential with a lot of item level investment to be really strong. Virgil has the potential, if you can get enough weather stacks, to be strong. Shandy's just kind of a stable usage. So I don't know. You need to figure out, you need to get to a wall and test people out and see what happens. I can't answer that for you. I mean, and Monte, that's what I did during seasons. If they had a bad season, I just didn't buy the season pass. That was my protest stance. It's my protest stance to this day on my main account that the way they introduced Jeremy was real screwed up. The things they did right before they launched Jeremy, I don't buy Jeremy on my main account. I mean, it's a gem purchase. Like they don't give a crap, but you know, you make your own decisions. I mean, Dynahair should be stronger, Lediath, but so many people are complaining that Dynahair came in weak, and I'm like, do you know she mops? Do you know she mops? Do you know what mopping is? Do you know she mops? I'm not saying she's, you know, not all mops scale the same. Not all mops are created equal, but did you know she mops? Yeah. 25 or 90. I need 80. 80 would be good. And she's a Swiffer, so she's really great for like dumping your item levels into her. Serves two purposes. She's a speed champion with item support, and she mops, so she's a good target for item levels. Twice the reason to invest in her. Seems a bit too situational. I don't know about that. I mean, she creates her own favorite foes, so doesn't she? She does, right? Am I misremembering? I thought she created her. Hold on. She's brand new. I can misremember this stuff. I mean, you have to pair her with people to make it the best, but yeah, she's got a 50% chance that a red wizard spawns with each wave. That's I mean, it's each wave. It's not just like once on a level. So yeah, she creates her own favorite foes, and its speed's based off of them. So yeah, I think it's great. I don't think it's any. I think it's similar to Virgil. Virgil is best when he's paired with other rivals, but Dynahair is best when she's paired with people that have other favorite foes. I find them both to have a similar kind of use case scenario. They can exist on their own, or they can do good stuff with a very specific group. Yeah. Explain mopping. I don't know what mopping is. So, MOP stands for mathematically overpowered. It's a reference to an ability on a champion that is both multiplicatively stacking and has item support that buffs the pre-stack modifier. This is the OP way of just absolutely OP champions. This is what Artemis is. This is what BBEG is. They're mops. They are champions that have mop abilities. So we say they mop. That's just a quick reference to say this is the strong kind, because it isn't just that they're multiplicatively stacking. There are lists out there of champions that are all multiplicatively stacking, but that misses the mark slightly, because while those are strong, they're not the strongest. Like mops they have the highest potential, because the more item levels you put in them, the stronger they get forever, because currently none of them are capped. So these are the potentially strongest champions. Now, not all mops are created equal. Some have different scaling. And some, early on, Artemis was a mop, but didn't have the champions to really light him up. Right now he does. So, this is what we're talking about now when we're talking about a mop. And then when we talk about a Swiffer, it's a joke, because it's a mop that's also a speed champion that has item support for their speed ability. It's a double. It's a twofer. So they're like, that's just even better. So yeah, it's just a new thing that I kind of, a term I coined when I was creating my blacksmithing contracts 101 guide, because I was trying to explain that these are the champions that you want to target with, speed champions first, then this other group of champions, and I had to kind of come up with a name for them, and mathematically overpowered, which shortens to MOP, became the term. Lae'zel and Dynahair could be an interesting speed team. Yeah. Potentially. Yeah. Double favored foes, and then Lae'zel jumps stuff when she gets bored. Yeah. Worth it to spend the gems to get nerds, or just use the gems on goldens to get feats? I would say chests. Until you're generating enough gems where 100,000 gems is like, oh, that's like a day for me. I'll give up a day of progress to pick up a champion. Or if you're, but still, even at that point, even if you were going for Artemis or Willy Wonka formations as an in-game goal, you would still need to be generating that kind of gems to buy nerds and have it be okay. In my opinion, nerds aren't the greatest. They have two use case scenarios where they shine. So this is my opinion. You asked, I answered. Lurking Rider is going to tell you that nerds are the champion you should go with first, but everybody's going to have a different opinion. Functionally, I'm not a big fan. I was going with heroes that mop the floor with the blood of it, but that works too, yeah. Because these are some of the strongest champions, whether they're DPS champions or support champions, or even tanking champions, survivability champions. They help you. They more easily mop the floor with your enemies than normally, right? But yeah, technically it stands for mathematically overpowered. It's not just these are just really strong champions. Like Briv isn't a mop. He's one of the strongest champions in the game, but he doesn't mop. Right? Yeah, he doesn't. Hey, Zool. Man, this is slowed down. All right. So we are still in Overdue Rendezvous. We got a little less than 50 levels to go. We are still clearing everything out. We're running EO7 damage above area monster health, which is good. But I'm worried about our scaling going forward. I got to make sure that we're spending our gold efficiently. So just taking ourselves to upgrades that are going to help the group, because the gold is starting to, it's not flooding us like we really need to. Upgrades are slowing down. The one saving grace we have is at some point when we get close, we can swap Jarlaxle out for another buffer, because Jarlaxle does not buff. He's just helping us earn gold. That might be Tyrell. That will raise our damage up quite a bit, because Jarlaxle has nothing in terms of team damage that he's giving. If he has to be the DPS, or all he has to offer is Master of Piracy for Gold Find. And right now, that's getting us E10 Gold Find, so we want it. Later, we're going to need damage instead. Ad break. Get back to questions in chat in about a minute when we're back from the ad break. Well, I enjoyed Twix. Which side Twix am I eating today? I don't know. Did I get left or right Twix? I don't know. Mid Twix. Do they still do that? I guess not. I used to find it hilarious when they said, these are left Twix. These are right Twix. Oh, that was funny. I'm almost back. Welcome back, everybody. Today's snack break was not sponsored by Middle Twix. All right. Just saw the update announcement, so time gate pieces will be needed for second, third flex slot. Yes. That makes more sense. I mean, if they told us about it up front, I don't think I'd have had any problem with it. My problem is just that they forgot it. It's kind of a big thing to forget. It's frustrating that they forget big things. because that does change the whole feeling of it. It's not necessarily bad, but it's not as good for new players as I thought it was going to be. Chaos, does it happen a lot on pugs that on day 4 of trials still have 2 people that add 0 DPS? So here's the thing, Chaos. There's been a bug in this game that... There's been a couple bugs in the game that affect trials and have from the very beginning. One of them that happens occasionally is that if someone doesn't do their day 1 run, and instead, day 2 is when they just forget or something prevents them from doing it on day 1, but they contribute from day 2 onward, they will always show as 0 until the trial completes, and then on that completion screen it will show you their actual contribution. That could be happening. The second bug that is rarer, in my experience, is that the person joined the trial started, they went to go start the trial, and the button would never let them start. Seen it. I don't understand, but it's happened. That could be it too. There's reasons why people could be at 0. Outside of those 2 bugs, it could also be that something came up and they haven't been able to they haven't had a chance to do their trials runs because life. I had a tree fall on my house once, and it was a little harder to, I've been about a week without power, and I couldn't do my trials runs, right? Life happens. And there is a scenario where someone could just be a jerk. So, there's options here, and in my opinion, 3 out of those 4 options for why they're at 0, not something that really need to get too upset about. It can be frustrating, but ultimately with trials are about doing your part and focusing on your part, because you can't control anyone else. So do what you can do. Sometimes you're going to carry, sometimes you're going to get carried. That's just the trials experience. Was that a Twix bar? It was. Wrong kind of Twix, right? That's Trix. Tricks are for kids. Not Twix. Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. Even if I put on all background parties and a speed party, main party, I don't end up farming many gems. It depends. The amount of gems where gems really flow like wine is when you Briv gem farm. But a solid Mad Wizard gem farm can earn you a lot. Background parties are never going to deliver much. Maybe what did they forget? They forgot to tell us that the flag slots were going to cost time gate pieces in the Event 2.0 blog that just came out on Friday. And in all of their conversations, it didn't even make it into Dev Insights conversations. It has been... they completely forgot it across the board. That's a bit of a problem, right? They shouldn't forget something as big as that. As a company-wide forgetfulness feels weird. There's a problem there they need to resolve. People are more invested in higher level trials. Some. I still hear about it in higher level ones. I've been running with a pre-made for a long time, so. But even for us, some weeks there's only 4 of us, and we still smoke Tiamat because we're good. Eventually, you get enough damage you can 4-man. You probably even 4-person it. You can probably even 3-person it. Heck, there's probably people in the game that can solo tier 10 at this point. Who knows? But yeah, early on, there's probably less of a urge. and more people are probably trying to just freeload. But still, for the most part, there's no way to really know why they're at 0. It could literally be half of the options could be bug. So 2 out of the 4 reasons they could be at 0 are bug. Now I need time gates to unlock. Well, not time gates. You need time gate pieces to unlock the one thing they said to help get more champions outside of using time gate slots in the yes, Nautilus. This is the weird thing. It's going to take you. So you will get the featured champions and 1 flex slot. So 3 champions in an event. Imagine that. 2 of them determined for you. 1 that you get to pick yourself. Then those other 2 flex slots, the ones that open in week 2 and week 3, if you want that, you have to pony up 3 time gate pieces. It is just 3. It is a limited pool of champions you get access to, but you get the potential to put to work through their tiers of rewards and get a lot more chests than you would get in a time gate in the current time gate system, but at a limited pool. So I am now going. Before I was like, well, they need to do a rework to time gates to make them a little better. Now I'm like, oh, no, they need to make time gates a lot better. Because if I'm spending 3 time gate pieces, and I'm getting all of that stuff now, the time gate 3.0 revamp needs to be beefy. Screws up my new player count quite a bit. I plan to be able to get 5. Well, I thought I was going to get 5 as well. Well, I will. I will get 5 because I glitched. The game glitched and gave me more time gate pieces. When I reset my account, seasons were still active, and for some reason, it ended up giving me 6 time gate pieces. I don't know why. But even if it hadn't, I would be at 2 time gate pieces. I would have 3 in time to open up the first flex slot, but then I wouldn't be able to get the second one. So I would get 4 champions out of this event. So now it's it's gonna slow me down based off what I thought was gonna happen, but whatever. Like I said, it is a small group of people that are going to be actually be affected by this. It is anyone who doesn't generate 3 time gate pieces per week is who this is going to negatively affect. The bigger problem is just the fact that they forgot. They're saying they forgot it, but Justin never talked about it on Dev Insights, and it wasn't in the blog. It's never been talked about at any point in the conversations about Events 2.0, which makes you then feel, did they forget or did they add it? We don't know. That's a total conspiracy theory, and I don't like to give oxygen to those kind of fires. But it just feels, in general, it feels bad. Because of this omission, it feels bad. You only get 3 champions for... like as a default. If you want to get the other 2 slots, you have to spend 3 time gate pieces. I guess it's a different way of doing discounted time gates. Kind of. I would love to see a code for. I would love to just see a login and go, hey, we're giving everybody 3 time gate pieces because we forgot to tell you in advance, and some of you may have spent all your time gate pieces because they also this is the bait that makes this a worse problem. They never ended this discount time gates for these 5 season champions, so people have been spending their time gate pieces on that. Do you know if Dark Urge's mop? He has the potential, but we won't know until we see. I didn't see anything actively called out that buffs apply to pre-stack, but Ceramorphosis in the past has been an item that is pre-stack on all absolute adversaries. So there's a good chance that Dark Urge mobs. This whole month feels like a series of missed opportunities for better new player retention. Oh, I feel that. Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I think the game again. I think all of these changes put the game in a better place long term. The problems with how these things are arriving are missed opportunities. They're missed opportunities, effectively, and they're causing a bit of a frustration in the short term. Yeah, Sandy is embodying Xander right now. They're missing 66% of the time. No. Oh no. How many time gate pieces can we get per week? That depends on the progress on your account. The max you can currently get is 6 a week. But that means you have the tier 5 Kellenvor Blessing. That takes you to double off the weekly drops. And then all 4 patrons open. That's 6 a week. Now, if you don't have tier 5 Kellenvor, but you have 2 patrons open, there's 3 a week and you're fine. Even if you're at 0 right now, you'd be fine for this event because you generate 3 a week. Or if you have the tier 5 Kellenvor Blessing and 1 patron active, you'd be fine. But if you don't meet that requirement, you're most likely not opening that 5th flex slot this event. Hey, Peter. Yeah, it is. Event chests are 7,500, Peter. They did tell us that. Event chests are 7,500, and you're guaranteed a gold and 2 silvers. Like, I shouldn't say guaranteed. It comes with 1 gold and 2 silvers, which is the drop rate. That was always the drop rate for free plays, was 1 in 3 on average. So they're doing that at the max cost of a free play, which was 2,500. So 7,500 for an event pack of chests for a champion. 3 weeks during the event to earn them, though, right? Oh, that is true. Yeah, so you'd get 3 just from drops. But here's the thing. If you were at 0, you'd only get 3 from drops over that time period. You would need to unlock either the blessing or patrons, or 1 patron. You'd either need to get the blessing or 1 patron if you were at 0. Yes, sorry. Math on stream. It's just a frustrating omission of something that is a very big deal that made it through all of their processes before you post a blog post and no one noticed it wasn't there. And it never got mentioned on dev insights. Is that gold we pay to get a No, event tokens. MC1740. Now you, before you would run free plays, you would have to grind a free play to get a chance at chests. They took all the costs for event stuff out. You no longer pay event tokens to do any of the adventures, variants, or free plays. Now you just earn those tokens and spend them in the shop on event packs. It's a much better system. The little bit you might use trying to game the system to get cheaper chests is made up for in all the free time that you have to just go do whatever you want. You can be running gem farms in that free time and make all that back. Like, it's a much better system. It's just, yeah. You just got to remember to go buy them. You can basically, people that dumped lots of bounty contracts on day 1 no longer have to spend a day or 2 to grind all of those chests out. They can just go into the store and just buy them and have their effectively their fully geared champion ready to go on day 1. Yep. It's everybody's spinning. Everybody's now spinning tokens on chests instead of just lurking riders. The 7,500 for a pack has been talked about in multiple places. The time gate piece wasn't talked about anywhere. All right, I need one more. I need one more banked level here. I need Jashar at 15 to get her bond bonus. The silver chests. These are just duplicates now, which is fine. There's my money. All right. And one thing we may do when we get to 173, if we're having trouble, is pop a click damage and see if that helps us to move forward. It's good to have a fire breath potion available for Overdue Rendezvous for that very purpose. Oh look, we got an epic out of those gold chests. Could have been literally any other epic and it would have been better. Oh boy. It'll come in handy on that epic will come in handy for Dragon Baits unlock. Looking positively into the future. I want that epic for Dragon Baits unlock. Do you have recommendations of what patron variants do to get the most favor for perks? It's influence, first of all. We gotta use the right terms because then people get confused. Favor is for blessings, influence is for perks. And yeah, actually Lediath has a guide out there. I can't remember, did I put that list in Patrons 101? I also may have put it in my Patrons 101 guide. Hold on, let me look. Did I just wholesale cop? I think I did. I copied most of Lediath's thing and then I added some stuff. I did. Yeah, here we go. There you go. If you scroll down, there's a list of variants, of efficient variants to do to maximize your time. So because you don't want to grind stuff. You just want to do things that are going to be the biggest bang for your buck. And that's the list of the ones that do that. Nothing. 100 levels. Okay. 640, 70 levels. $95 just for some health. $590. Bruno needs 1,000. I already know that. All right, he'll be next. He'll be next. These are my 50 epic contracts. I can almost get full epic on the champions. Nice. Just make sure you don't use them until the event starts. Yeah, that's the key. I mean, you can still go grind them all out, but the idea is grab as much as you can first, get as much perks as you can, and then just breeze through as many others as possible, right? And once you go through those, then just remember, you really want to look for the highest area completion goal with the lowest restriction, right? Like with the restriction that doesn't hurt. That's kind of what that list is. But if you can then, make value judgments, like go test others and find out just how much power you have in that patron, like invest locally, strong local, and not, with just minimal global to focus on that patron stuff. And then, smoke stuff. It lets you get all, effectively, if you can do coasting to the finish, you can get, I don't have perks available. You can get tier 9? Is it 9 up through 9 perks? Or is it 7? I can't remember. It might be through tier 7. 7 or either 9. You get a bunch of them just with that one variant, if you could just do that on its own. But usually you've done a lot before that. It's ridiculous the amount of influence the higher level stuff gets you. So skipping the lower level stuff and going to the higher, doing efficient stuff early on, and then aiming for the highest thing you can complete is the best use of your time. And then later you can just go back and breeze through everything else. The idea is just to make things as quick and easy as possible, right? Doesn't mean it won't be a challenge, but it won't be as frustrating as what it would have been otherwise. All right, we have E48 DPS. Well, technically E49 on our hit. E46 is now the health. We're still about 27 levels away. 25 away from the problem level, the big problem level. Oddly, it's not the boss. The boss is going to be a problem, but the bigger problem is 173. Yeah, Descent into Avernus is the first place where you can... Basically, you do like 4 or 5 variants in Descent into Avernus, and you've maxed tier 5 perks for all your patrons. That's how wild it gets there. Before that, there isn't a lot of opportunities available. And you would have to grind. I don't think you should. I think you just wait until you get to Avernus. And then after that, it's just a few spots, 1 or 2 variants, I feel like, in each place. Got to be a little more restrictive again. Gets more towards the grind. I don't know what we're going to do with Jar. I don't feel like we're going to level Jarlaxle up at all. He's just not worth putting anything into at the moment. But I don't know who we should... I don't know who our replacement for him is going to be yet. There's an argument for... No, we won't get to 4. We can't get... Well, we could get to 4 Paragon Kirsebal if we put Tyrell and Archon in. Archon would have to replace Jamila. But I feel like it's going to be a swap between either Tyrell or Minsc. Like, if Minsk's favored... If we could just bring Minsc in on the boss, if we match the favored foe, that could pretty much guarantee us clearing the boss. So I kind of want to keep that in my pocket. So I'd like to do it with Tyrell up front. Because if Minsc can't match the favored foe, he's not really delivering. Is why we haven't been using him. As much as I love Boo, Minsc is a bit hit or miss. Minsc is a bit hit or miss. Is this what the game looks like at lowest speed? This is without any speed potions. Or any speed effects at all. Yes. This is normal. This is new player normal. I know, it's something a lot of us do not remember, but it is. It is. I'm going to go ahead and just pop that. I don't want to get him. I'm at E27 gold, so I don't want to spend up into that. Into anywhere remotely close to that. Yeah, we'll stop there. Just prep him, and we'll prep Minsc at a specialization level. But we're way... Well, no, we're coming up on Ashara's upgrade. She only needs 5 banked levels. And she'll get double damage. But that health creeping very quickly, creeping up on what our damage is, and that's a problem. When we're still 20 levels away from the problem level, when we're Getting real close to not being able to kill things in one shot. Not what we want to see. Not what we want to see. This is the problem with losing us. This is the power you lose with a single slot. We got an NPC Drizzt in the middle, and he's not doing us any favors. Is there a way to see your game speed without spending a speed potion? Nope. Nope. I would like them to update this to show speed bonus and have it list what it is, even without active potions, but that's a quality of life upgrade. It's not really where they're at in their development cycle at the moment. But it would be nice. But yeah, it doesn't. Not a thing currently. Oh, 95 here. Yeah, 95 for health. Just cure more wounds for the time being. The FPS is 4 right now? Rough. Yeah, that's a problem. Potato FPS. Coming in hot. I guess when your computer overheats, it becomes a baked potato. Is that the way it is? It's funny to watch Sean's New Game Plus. He has no patron unlocked, but he's all familiars and can punch to 500 plus? No. I can't. Man. We're barely clearing 200 currently. Although we now are finally in the place where we have green or better gear everywhere, so I can now focus more on buying gold chests. Which is good. Peter, I'll answer your question once we come back from an ad break. Getting real close. Getting real close. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so is there a new tutorial collection variant in Circa? Well, it's not new, but it showed up for people because the data was in the game and the collection system reads all the data, but they're going to be removing it. It's not needed. Basically, anything in the game currently that you can't do, that won't get you progress, they're going to be going through and pulling all of those data points out so that it's not counting against you, so that you can. So that it is possible to 100. They want it to be so it's possible to 100% your collections at any given point in time. And then all of those things that are for future content. Once there's enough content in the game for you to finish those, then they'll activate those quests again, so that you can then turn around and 100% things again. But they want people to get to be able to get to 100%. It's just not. It's just not. It's just not right now. You just can't right now because of bugged data. You know, like I think somebody put it very well when they said the collection system shows C&E's dirty laundry, and it does. Like their laundry's just thrown all over the room and stuffed under the bed, and their data hasn't been cleaned up because it never had to be, because they never invited anybody into their room before. But now they have a guest over, and whoops. And whoops. Yeah. So because we didn't get to 5 EO9 Torm's Favor, when we bounce over to Kelemvor, I'm just going to go ahead and buy the Tier 2 Sword Coast Global that gives me extra gems. Even though we're going to lose some power when we come back to Sword Coast, like we'll lost some power there, but by the time we return to do Sword Coast, we'll have picked up more power, and so it'll, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. C&E doesn't make its bed in the morning. Neither do I. I am definitely in the group that's like, why make it? I'm just gonna get back in it later. I'm totally that person. Even though I like on the occasion when I do make it, it's like, oh, that looks really good made. I don't care about that enough to do it on a regular basis, though. I mean, yeah, there you go, Snowfox. That's totally why I do it. I let my bed air out. That's not why I do it, but thank you for giving me an excuse to tell people. Totally, that'll go over. Yeah. That's totally why I do it. Yeah, I think the next level up, well, it's going to be Ashara right now. All right. Did that get us to E50? It did not. 957, E49. I bet the second we get somebody touching Niali, that'll be E50, but we're right on the cusp. We're only at 159. Yeah. Gonna need that 8th champion not being Jarlaxle real soon. Are you saying they forgot to say a thing and people under 2 pages are gonna? Well, I think under 1. If you can't. Here's the thing: if you can't earn 3 time gate pieces a week, well, I guess on average 2 a week over the next 3 weeks for the duration of this event, then you're gonna not be able to get all 5 champions in the event. Yeah, the 2, there's going to be 2 of the 5 or 2 of the 3 flex slots are going to need 3 time gate pieces each. That's the weird thing. That's the thing that's going to hurt new players that can't generate. So one of them will open up in week 2. So you're going to have 3 time gate pieces by then, and then you're going to have another 3 the next week to unlock the other one. I don't, and Monto, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of what they said. They're saying they made a mistake in the post. Not just. I mean, the first time around, I feel like they, if they had, yeah, first time around, change the costs just so it's not as painful for people that missed it. Next time, deal with it then. I don't know. We'll see what happens. They've got a week to potentially adjust things or give or give some time pieces or adjust the cost, whatever they want to do, or to just stick to their guns. I don't know. They got a week because it's not gonna even be possible to unlock another flex slot for a week. So yeah, you're gonna need 6 time gate pieces over the 3 weeks of the event. 3 in week 2, 3 in week 3. I missed something while looking at work. Why do I need time gate pieces? Because they changed how the flex slots work. They announced that they were supposed to have said that the first flex slot is no cost, but the other 2 flex slots, the ones that open up in week 2 and week 3, need 3 time gate pieces to unlock. Time gate pieces. And then the 4th flex slot is the supporter slot for cash DLC, paid DLC. And before Sudden Spring Celebration, where they give it time gate every day. But that that's fine, but that doesn't fix the problem because time gates, because these events are going to happen every month, and those celebrations only happen quarterly, right? So even if one of those were to occur, and I think this is the wrong time for it, I think it would be... Well, I can't remember. Was the last one in January or December? That's what'll tell you. They happen every 3 months. We're up to E50 damage. But they're up to E50 health, so... Yeah, Mr. Blonde, my biggest issue is that's a really big mistake. To forget about that in the blog post. And they never talked about it on Dev Insights either. There was no hint that was going to be a thing. It's kind of a big oversight. Functionally, it'll be fine in the long run. But whenever you go from less restrictive to more restrictive in terms of anything, you're creating a backlash. You're creating frustration for people. There was really no need to create that kind of frustration, and they did, and they do fairly regularly, which is the big problem. I think the last one's in December. I just don't remember. Yeah. Yeah, April that's why I think it's January, April, July. Well, no, that doesn't work out well either. I don't know. So I didn't know about this before today. Oh, you can go back and watch the VOD. I was shocked. I was shocked. But they don't run everything by me. They don't tell me everything. They tell me what I need to know for tutorial shows. And if I hear anything about new stuff for my subject matter stuff, that's most of the time that's champions or systems, but this was not one that I was asked about to give feedback on. They did not ask for my opinions on Events 2.0. I mean, it's going to feel bad, Peter. It doesn't necessarily have to be a loss. It's just going to feel bad. If they knew, it's like I said, it's a small group of people that this is going to really, really adversely affect. And it's people that aren't going to be able to generate those 6 time gate pieces before the event ends. And that and that read the Events 2.0 blog and thought that they were going to be able to unlock 5 champions for nothing in this event. Those are the people that are going to be frustrated by this. It's still a non-zero amount of people. Cosmic Revelry was November. Okay, then it might very well be April is the next one. Okay, we do not have good damage here. So time to swap in. Tyrol is coming in, and yeah, there we go. Now we're up to E55. Nashara's up to 5 magic missiles per attack, so solid wave clear. Now the question is this going to be enough to get us 9 more levels? For 173, we've got to be clearing quickly. They can't be touching our formation or we're not going to move forward. To get the sarcophagus, to clear each sarcophagus. There, that works. $600. I have time gate pieces last me 10 events and I'm still not happy. I mean, this doesn't affect me at all. I'm still frustrated that they make a mistake like that. That's just going to potentially create bad blood, right? It's a negative karma effect that we were talking about earlier. Like, frustrates me when there's no reason to create that, and they just created it. Like all of this should have been positive. It's like, That the next legendary dismantle date? Most likely it'll be when that weekly celebration happens, so probably April. If I don't know. Hard to say. They can adjust them as they wish, I guess. They can fall in any kind of certain time period, so or E25 Tiamat favorite enough to unlock 0? I mean, you mean to finish Elturel's Last Stand? As long as you're, soft capping your champions, ultimately Elturel's Last Stand is about it's a damage race. So it's more about as long as you can soft cap your champions, it becomes about your formation building and who your DPS is. DPS needs to remove multiple chunks every attack. You need as much extra credit, you need as much help removing sections as possible in that damage race. So, I mean, will some more favor help you? Like you're kind of capped on power at that point in your progression, so you take whatever you can get, but then it's about building a formation that can really chunk through armored segments. Because you can't just slowly whittle them down. You need to buzzsaw because of the way the boss works. Chris said May? Okay. It's gonna be May then, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, folks, I don't know. I don't keep track of when they do their celebrations. I mean, again, it helps to have a multi-hit champion like Ashara. I mean, you're just gonna have to try a formation, and if you fail, then try a different formation. Ultimately, is how that boss fight's gonna work. Gosrick can lower the threshold for armor, but that doesn't necessarily, that's just for a single chunk. You still have to remove multiple chunks. You can't remove one chunk per attack or per basic attack round. That will not work. So lowering it doesn't help unless you have other people who are doing bud based damage and your bud wasn't high. Like there's a lot of things there. You really need multi-hit. You really need a multi-hit champ DPS for that, for Elturel's Estan. Frida is multi-hit, but Frida's damage is not the greatest. Esmeralda does also help, yes, but isn't the best buffer. There's a trade-off there, right? So there's a lot of ways to potentially do it, but you have to figure out the one that's best for you once you get there. Because it doesn't really matter what what you can do to a boss on area 50. It matters what you can do it on the final area, right? Oh yeah, Celise helps now too. Yeah, Frida's multi-hit damage isn't, like, her base attack damage is okay. The problem is so much of Frida's power comes from her Hellish Rebuke. And that isn't multi-hit. Like, that's, the boss attacks you. That's one chunk. It's an additional chunk, but so yeah. It's all right, Nathalis. Just nothing changes now if you miss a day. You get the same restriction you had before. It doesn't add a new one like it used to. Yeah, if you have the Bud, Corzones, Krolls, and Entrees, Ultis, Shred Armored bosses, but again, this is a very specific fight. And I honestly don't know how well those work. I believe it's basically multiple bosses in one. It's one boss, but it's multiple. I don't want to give too much away here for people who aren't there yet. I don't want to spoil it. It's a pretty cool reveal. They appear in different places, so yeah, challenging to use ults for it, unless you use one and then wait and then use another and wait and use another. Frida's left spec can touch also. If she's placed correctly, sure, I guess. Yeah, that's true. So you'd get one because it's an AoE. You'd get one off. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just thinking of her base attack and then the tank line, but it's not attacking the front line. It's an AoE. Grimes, those are things that I'm going to put in the each champions guide where it's relevant to how you can unlock them. And for each, and eventually I'll make a patron guide for each patron where it's relevant. It didn't feel relevant to just a generic guide. Okay, so here's our first challenge zone. And it looks like we're fine. We're at E54 damage. This is where we needed to be. And so we're still one hitting everything. We're moving forward, but this is where the problem would be normally. Is if these skeletons start building up on your tank, you don't move forward. And if you don't move forward, you can't close the sarcophagus each time it pops up. So yeah, I am aware of that information, Grimes. It just didn't feel like that was the place to put it. Personally, when I was making the guide. Well, I understand Lurking Rider, but the puddles linger. But the boss may not be in the same boss. Not be might not be in the puddle. After one goes away, the other one may be somewhere else. That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter if it lingers if they're not standing in it. If they're standing outside the fire, there's another song reference. It doesn't mean anything. Unlock Mert in 3 days. Wow. Sean had a bizarre new account today. Unlock Mert once. How do you do that? That's not. You can't get the item levels for that. Yeah, that's not. You can't. That's not a normal thing that could ever happen. I don't even know how you unlock Mert in 3 days. I don't know how you get 2,000 item levels in 3 days. Honestly. If you run into the background, you can bypass it, or is that logic? You can't bypass that boss fight. No, you'd still have to have the damage to do it. Oh, you can't. Oh, 173. No, because if you're not actually, I don't know. Actually, I've never tried to skip 173 by running into the background. Weird stuff happens with those restrictions. I don't know. Maybe. Any info on how to do Tale of Two Champions? Sure. Oh, did I never make a guide for that? Didn't. I should add that to the list. Oh. Added. Because yeah, that's pretty common. Oh, hey, we got the boss. So Tale of Two Champions. You want to start off the run with the two champions that provide the most general gold find. General gold find, sir. Jarlaxle and somebody else that just boosts gold find, doesn't do stuff with stacks of things like Krull or something up front. And you want to basically level up click damage and kill via. I mean, you're going to level up your champions, but you're really just trying to get them to the maximum gold find boosts that they can provide as you're leveling them up. You're killing everything with the click damage. So a familiar on click damage and a familiar on the field, right? And you push as far as you possibly can. If you cannot clear it just from that combination, like if at some point your click damage starts falling off, which is fine, you don't have to have outrageous favor for this. Switch one of them into a debuffer. It's great if that debuffer is also a tank. I'm a fan of Gromma, but that doesn't mean that's who you have to use. Ayla would also work. Anyone that's like a tank debuffer would be great, but it can just be any debuffer. And keep Jarlaxle in with them, because he has the biggest straight up gold find boost for this. And then and basically you're debuffing the enemies and they're taking more click damage. Like it needs to be a debuff that works with click damage. So you're gonna have, man, does Ayla's work with click damage? I don't remember, but Gromma's I believe does. Anyway, debuff. Because you're progressing through this whole Tale of Two Champions with click damage. This was the click debuff primer. And then you go as far as you can from that. If you don't finish it with that, with a combo of a debuffer and a gold find, then you take the gold find out and you put another debuffer in. Krull, at this point, is ideal with his gold find spec. And then you're just debuffing enemies and clicking through them until you complete it. You got to find the strongest two debuffers at that point. One of them needs to be a tank. If you're using Krull, one of them needs to be a tank so you can have time to build up debuffs or build up his stacks. But that's how you get through it. And you may try all that and then may not get far enough, and that just means you need more favor. But yeah, we unlocked Drizzt, folks. We unlocked Drizzt. That's a collection complete. We get some 3 Drizzt gold chests, which I'm not opening right away. Because you shouldn't. Because again, he's an evergreen champion. We want to gear him up with silver chests and electrum chests to at least green or better gear. Then open golds for him. Because that's the way we do around here.